Hello, what is up guys? I'm here today, back with another Unreal Engine 4 tutorial. Today's video will be continuing part 5 of our 3D horror type game, where we're making a sort of scary type game, or basically showing you all the different elements and how to make them in one of these types of games. Today's episode will be taking a look at how to make a flashlight, as well as changing the game into nighttime so that it actually feels more like a horror game, instead of just like a cute little town on the water right now. So real quick, before we get into the video, if you're new to the channel, new to Unreal Engine 4, or you've been watching some of these tutorials on the series here and you haven't subscribed already, please consider it. You'll stay up to date when new content does come out. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into it, and let's start by making the flashlight. To do that, you're going to need to navigate to our content browser on the left, and if you've been following along, we're going to be in the Paragon Phase folder, Characters, Heroes, Phase, Phase Player Character. From here, we're going to navigate over to the viewport, which is this option located up at the top. And on the viewport, we need to add something. So click on the Add Component up in the top left corner. And from here, we're looking for the feature called Spotlight. So go ahead and find the Spotlight function. Take the Spotlight and parent it to the Follow Camera that we already have in here. And you're now going to see that it sort of follows the head movement and everything that we created earlier when we initially set up this character back in, I think, like episode 1 or 2. So from here, we need to set this up so that it sort of lines up with your actual facing direction. So you'll kind of need to manipulate the camera around a little bit and try and get the angle right. As you can see, it's tipped off to the left a little bit. So eventually we should get it, and that looks pretty close to being dead set on where the character's head is. And then you need to move it a little bit away from the character as well. So a little bit in front of them, maybe a little bit, we'll keep it lower. So it's sort of lined up with the character. Pretty straightforward. The only other thing we're going to do with the spotlight, and this is just a personal preference thing, is narrow the cone of it a little bit. So the outer cone angle is the cone that the spotlight is shooting into. Pretty straightforward. I'm going to drop it to 35, just to make it a little bit tighter of a cone for the player here. From there, just go ahead and hit compile and save, and then move on into the event graph. We're going to make the F key the flashlight key. So go ahead and right-click in the event graph over here, type in F key, and you will see keyboard events F pop up. Pretty darn straightforward. The next thing you need to do is add a flip-flop. So right-click, flip-flop, find that button right there, and drag this in on the press option. Now, after you have the flip-flop in here, we're going to drag off the spotlight, and from the spotlight, we're going to click on the option that says visible. So go ahead and type in visible by dragging off of the spotlight, and we're looking for set visibility. So the new visibility we want to set to true for when we first click the flashlight. Control CV, copy this whole piece down, connect the two nodes, and for this option, we want to set it to non-visible. So turn flashlight on, turn flashlight off. Really straightforward. The only other thing we need to do is click on the spotlight on the left side of the screen over here. Scroll down the list on the right until you see the option that says visibility, and click the visible check mark. Clicking this check mark will make it so it's invisible to start. So invisible to start, press F, turn flashlight on, press F, turn flashlight off. Really straightforward. If we hit the play button to go ahead and try this out, walk up to a wall up inside of this house, I guess, probably the darkest area I have in the game right now. Press F, you see the flashlight turns on, it tracks with our player's head because we have it parented to the camera, and everything is all good in this game right now. So we got our flashlight working. Awesome. Now let's make it nighttime in the game. So as you can see, we have that pestilent sun sitting up in the sky, and what we're going to do is navigate to the location on the map where you see this little icon right here, looking for this sun icon. The icon is also called light source, so if you just type in light into the world outliner at the top, you can click on the light source. What we need to do is we need to rotate the sucker down and into the dirt. So yeah, rotate it 180 degrees in whatever angle you want. I guess we'll do it in the X angle here. So 180 degrees from 51, negative 51, I think is 130. So that should move it directly underneath. And in order to actually get that to update, you need to go over to the world outliner over here and type in sphere. And you're looking for the option that says sky sphere. From here, check the refresh material option. And I guess I didn't really rotate it too far, huh? It only moved it like 3 degrees. So we're going to click on the little sun icon again, or once again, you could just type in light source to find it over here in the top, so that that's selected. And now I'm just going to manually rotate it until it disappears. So you can see the light sort of going, and we're going to drag it down until it's underneath the horizon. I think that's probably underneath the horizon. Once again, we got to go back to the sky sphere. So type in sky sphere up in the top right up here, double click it, and check the refresh material button. That should be a bit closer to dark. Now, if you double clicked it and it took you all the way out here, don't worry. Just double click on anything inside of your level in that, and it'll bring you back in. So now it's getting a little bit closer to nighttime, and if we click the play button, we can see that our flashlight is actually doing more flashlight things, and it's looking a little bit more dark and whatnot, but it's still not quite good enough. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to the sky sphere. So sky sphere, double click on this little guy, and here we need to change some colors. So right where my webcam has been hiding, we have the override settings here. So this option set right here is how we're going to change the colors. we're going to bring this to a lot darker of a color, so almost a pitch black. Same thing with the horizon color. Drag it on down. Click OK. And then we also need to make sure to check the box, colors determined by sun position. So now it'll actually become nighttime. And now if we hit play, now it's looking a little bit darker, but the clouds are still a little too bright. So we're going to go ahead and escape out of this, go back to the world settings, select the sky sphere, scrolling down the list over here on the details panel. Once again, that's the details panel, and work on making these a little bit darker. Let's move the clouds to more of a gray. Try and make them a little bit more dark, and then the overall color, we're also going to bring it on down. Now if we hit play again, now it's looking a bit more dark and dreary like a nighttime scene. So now with all of that done, the last thing we need to do is we need to lower the overall intensity of the scene. So that is done under the World Settings tab. Click on World Settings, you'll then see Light Mass. So under the Light Mass option here on the drop downs over here, click on the Light Mass setting, scroll down until you see the option that says Environmental Intensity. And we're going to drop this to like 0.15. Just type that in manually, hit save, click on the Build option with the little drop down here for Build Lighting Only, and fix all the lighting in your game. And once you got all that done, it's going to be pitch black and you're not going to be able to see anything. But if we hit the play button again, you can now see that it's definitely a dark little dreary thing, and our flashlight is definitely having a lot more importance. Although the lighting is definitely still off a little bit. And fixing that little bit of offness is actually really super simple. All you got to do is go back to the light source option. So once again, that's in the world outliner light source. Click on the details panel and you will see light color. For light color, you just got to drag this down to black and make it black light. Save, play, and now it's like pitch black darkness, and your flashlight really makes you have to see everything. So you can't see anything without the flashlight. You got like the light on the horizon sort of appearance over the mountains. You can see the trees. It's definitely got that horror type feel, although our flashlight's probably not strong enough, so we can fix that pretty easy by heading over to the phase player character, spotlight, and you can change the intensity of the light here. So click on the spotlight, and right here's intensity. Let's just double that to 10,000 and see if that helps with seeing anything in the game. Compile, save, put the flashlight on, and now it's got a little bit more of a horror-esque feel. You can keep messing around under the World Settings tab over here at the Environmental Intensity. You can keep messing with this number until you find a number that makes sense. So let's try 0.25 real quick. Alright, so after messing around with all those settings for like 20 minutes I've been sitting here recording, I think I got it to a point where I personally like the lighting in this game. So, you know, your flashlight has an impact, but you can still sort of make out stuff on your screen, and it's got that right level of darkness. And obviously we'll build some lighting in and fires and stuff in the little village as we progress further in this series. But just to show you the final settings that I ended up with to get this setup. For the sky sphere, these are my color options over here on the right. So you can kind of match them decently closely. This is the zenith color. This is the horizon color. This is the cloud color. And this is the overall color setting. So you can go ahead and just pause the video on each of those little showing bits and pick them out. The next one was the light source option that we set here. So the one that we rotated underneath the ground and the earth and blah, blah, blah. So I changed the rotation a little bit to try and get a little bit better lighting distribution. So this is the rotation settings right here. So -51, -31, and 36 for rotation. Intensity is set to 0.3 lux, and the light color is as follows. So once again, pause the video and copy those settings right there. So we showed you how to get to all those a second ago. Just showing you my final settings I ended up settling on for what I liked in this. And yeah, I think this is pretty solid. I also bumped up the intensity of the flashlight up to 15,000, and I think I'm going to take it up to 20,000. It's 200,000, 20,000, because I think it's still a little too dark. But anyway, yeah, it looks a little bit better. So these are the final settings that I ended up settling on here to make it nighttime with a flashlight and everything. So when you are working on this project and when we're designing the levels, obviously it's going to be a pain to like look and see here in the game world like this with it so dark. So to fix that, all we're going to do while we're actually like leveling up and designing the level a little bit is take this 0.3 lux intensity and bump it up to like 5. And now it's like daytime and we can actually, you know, see what's going on. We still have the sky sphere up there, which we're going to pretend is our moon now. But it makes it so we can actually see what we're doing while designing the level here, which is pretty nice. Just want to keep that in your mind. And then 0.3 to bring it back to darkness. So that is the setting that we are going to be messing around with most frequently. Anyway, that is going to do it for today's video. So we looked at how to make a flashlight, set our game into the nighttime so that it's actually more like a horror game. And yeah, I think we're ready to move on into the next portion of the video. Haven't decided what I'm going to do next in the video series, but there'll be something. Anyway, guys, if you did like this video, if it's going to help you to make your very own game in Unreal Engine, do make sure to leave a like, and also, once again, make sure you're subscribed so you stay updated when more videos in this series do come out. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you at the next video, the next live stream, or wherever I happen to see you. Peace.